Hello there guys, Daniel Childs back here again. Hope you're doing really well on this Tuesday. I wanted to do this show last week, but unfortunately the whole ownership issue took a priority, so this had to take a bit of a back seat. But here we are to finally speak about Levi Colwill, the role he is playing for Enzo Maresca so far, how he is directly contributing in ways to Chelsea's attack and scoring goals, and why I think it's important and actually quite impressive, and how that will develop over the course of this season. Please do hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button, hopefully reaching new landmarks before the end of 2024. I also want to say a massive thank you once again to the guys at Alloy Collectors. I shouted this out before the weekend, but you still can, in the description box below, use my discount code 15% off for stuff at Alloy Collectors. Great collectibles, I think, especially for these retro kits. I've paid homage to one of Chelsea greats, 25. I've seen people have this where they just have a classic number, but you can absolutely put names on the back of the shirt as well. Great to customize, easy to do even for someone like me who's not used to crafts and DIY. I think it is absolutely wonderful, good quality, and you can put it up on the shelf, something to have on your desk, something to give to a Chelsea fan. I know we're still in September, but maybe you're starting to turn your mind to Christmas. Maybe that's just a little bit of projection from me, but you are starting to look towards them for some nice gifts. So absolutely a great Chelsea gift. And it's not just retro kits they're releasing now, they're also got the modern kits out as well if you want to get them and customize them. So Alloy Collectors, use my discount code SonOfChelsea at checkout for 15% off. But let's start off with Levi Colwill. So what really sparked this idea of this show for me and kind of delving into this issue a lot more was I saw some graphs. I believe the credit goes to Saturday's On Couch that looked at ball progression basically for Chelsea against Crystal Palace and also the Wolves game, and in both Levi Colwill was top. Progression via pass and also just looking at ball progression generally. The closest from a Chelsea point of view in the Wolves game was Marco Correa. The closest against Palace was Caicedo. So then I wanted to take a look on Y-Scout at just general passing numbers last season for Levi Colwill, because he did suffer some injuries, especially towards the end of the season. And of course, some context here, he did play left back, especially for, I guess, almost the first half of the season, maybe a little bit over that, whilst Ben Chilwell was out injured. So some context, some variance there. But I just thought from a style point of view, the way he's contributing from a passing point of view, how has that changed? Now, again, I will stress when looking at these comparisons, you are looking basically at the course of a full season for Levi Colwill compared to effectively 6 matches or 4 games in the Premier League for Chelsea. So bear that in mind when we look at these numbers. These, I'm sure, will go down on average across the course of the season, but maybe indicating the difference in the ways that Levi Colwill is being used as a left centre-back for Maresca compared to the way he was being used predominantly under Mauricio Pochettino. So looking at this, 33 matches played, over 2,000 minutes, and passes per 90, just over 50. Accurate passing percentage was just over 87%. Forward passes per 90 was 20.46. Accurate forward passes 77%. And then we see the lateral passes per 90, 20.62. And another one being highlighted here is accurate long passes, just over 40%. So again, we now look at the start of this season where his passes per 90, 64%. So have gone up quite a bit. Accurate passes per 90, 92%. Forward passes per 90, if we compare them again, it's gone up 26.88%, and that's also gone up in accurate forward passes a little bit, 87%. And the percentage of accurate long passes have also gone up. I just looked at his numbers specifically for the Bournemouth game in comparison to the other defensive-minded players for Chelsea. He also created the most expected assists, 0.15 to anyone else. Chances created 1. Passes into the final third. This is an interesting number to look at, and we're going to delve in with certain examples here. 11. So that shows you, again, he is getting forward, he is contributing, he's looking to be progressive on the front foot, even though he is a centre-back. So then we look at some specific examples. We're going to start with the Bournemouth game. There was a very obvious example in the first half where he created a chance for Nicholas Jackson. And I guess this is maybe a sense of Maresca wanting Colwill to be a little bit more adventurous, get over the halfway line, especially in games where Chelsea are expected to have a lot of the ball, maybe are coming up against a more rigid defensive structure. And we just see here Levi, in some ways, I think it's a little bit bad on Bournemouth's part, who were quite well structured on Saturday, to give Levi this space, especially with the quality on his left foot, but he gets that space, and then he has several options here. He can look for Marco Correa, but instead he threads a pass through to Nicholas Jackson. Jackson's movement, I think, is one of the strongest parts of his game, and he's able to find him. Unfortunately, Jackson's shot is stopped here, but it's a good quality opportunity. I think it is one that maybe, if you're being really harsh on Jackson, should be doing a little bit better. He gets it on target, maybe in terms of balance. He should be making the most of this and maybe scoring. So that nearly contributes to an opening goal for Chelsea. But then there was another quite obvious example a lot deeper in the pitch of starting a counter-attacking opportunity for Chelsea. This is another part of Colwill's game that I find quite interesting, is his passing directly contributing to Chelsea getting on the front foot, exposing opponents on transition. And this led to our opener against Palace, where you see defensively, we see how strong he can be up against Mateta. Not a small centre forward, not a slim centre forward. So he gets in front of Mateta and then quickly looks for the right pass, basically unleashes Noni Madueke. And if you've seen the goal, Madueke gets forward. We have a nice combination of passes, and eventually it leads across the box from Cole Palmer to Nicholas Jackson to tap in. So then I just want to look at sort of the way Chelsea are looking, I guess, especially from a goal kick point of view, when we're starting, when we're looking to build up, where everyone is kind of stationed. I guess most people look at Chelsea's system currently, and of course some variants with who started on Saturday against Bournemouth. But you see Levi Colwill, Fofana, Gusto, Cucurella kind of as a back four, Caicedo, Fernandes, Palmer, Madueke, Neto, Jackson. Of course, this does quickly change when Chelsea get into a rhythm, when they're starting to pass, and we see one of the fullbacks, usually the right back, move into central midfield at times. And I was even looking at this in the Wolves game. It kind of feels like you have a 6 where you have a 3 and a 3, where you have Cucurella moving into a left centre back position. Colwell will sometimes move into a central defensive position, in the sense he's almost like in the middle of a back 3. Fofana right sided centre back, and then you have Gusto inverting, Caicedo kind of as the anchor, and then Fernandes dropping deeper on the left side. Another one here is, you see a lot of teams do this now, where they almost look at the goalkeeper as another centre back. So Sanchez will move kind of out to the right. You have Colwell dropping deeper, and then you're looking at Fofana out wide on right, Cucurella left, Caicedo kind of as the anchor again, Gusto kind of next to him in central midfield, but a little bit more advanced than Fernandes too. So that specifically is looking at the game against Wolves. So here's some other examples in build-up, where we see Levi Colwill starts off as kind of a traditional back four. Fofana definitely on the right, Caicedo actually operating as kind of a second centre-back, and Enzo Fernandez dropping deeper. But especially it's these combinations, especially out wide, out left, where Levi is naturally looking to quite regularly, where he's looking for that left winger to drop deep. Neto here picks up the ball and plays a nice combination 1-2 with Marco Correa, and then finding those one-on-one opportunities, which are so important to Maresca's style of play. Another example here again, where you have Palace trying to block Chelsea. You've got Caicedo, Colwell and Cucurella, kind of a lopsided back 3 here, and then you've got Palmer, Gusto and Fernandes as that midfield 3. We're talking about those 6 kind of players looking to build up, get round a press. And again here, Colwell looks to progress the ball, looks out wide to left, this time finds Marco Correa. Cucurella finds Enzo Fernandez, and Fernandez, who had a pretty poor day on the ball, if he gets this pass right, Neto is potentially away, or at least getting Chelsea further up the pitch. But there have been some variants to Colwell's passing. It isn't just kind of simple passes out left from deep. Sometimes he will progress from the centre and literally look for a direct pass straight into the feet of Nicholas Jackson. I really like this pass. I really like sort of the variables in the way Chelsea can build up here, because I think it can get very repetitive, and teams will quite quickly, not only in terms of in-game but across the season, sort of catch on to what Chelsea are trying to do. So I like the fact that Colwell, especially in that Wolves game, if you go back and watch that Wolves game and just specifically watch Colwell, how during the course of the game his passing did change. He wasn't always looking for that obvious option, for example here out wide left, this time carving a ball into the centre of the pitch, again finding Nicholas Jackson, again direct. He could go for the obvious option here of Marco Correa. Instead he looks to cut it across into the centre where Jackson has dropped deeper. This is another thing we see from Enzo Maresca's centre forwards. He expects them to drop a little bit deeper, sometimes behind the halfway line, pick up the ball and then turn and then run forward, and that's exactly what Chelsea did here. There just was several examples I run through here that again opened up space, were instrumental in Chelsea breaking down Wolves in that quite devastating second half. And here's another example here in combination with Enzo Fernandez. Again, easier options, it could be kind of safer to look back to Wesley Fofana, even look back to your own keeper in Robert Sanchez, but he spots the positioning of Enzo Fernandez in between the lines, and it's the execution of Levi's passing that is so impressive for a central defender. That's what makes him a real difference maker on that left side with that left foot, the angles he is able to play compared to a right footer. That is why left-sided, kind of left-footed central defenders have been quite in trend in recent years, because they're able to play a style of passing or an angle of passing that maybe others can't. Now, I think overall, it's great to see so early on that Levi is quickly making himself one of Chelsea's most important players. I think from a defensive point of view, Chelsea are still giving away a lot of opportunities. Now, we have dissected that problem before of looking in central midfield. I think in terms of offensively in Chelsea looking to build up and being a team that has repetitive actions and movements and chemistry that grows throughout the course of the season. It's not just all off the cuff, but it gives Chelsea an extra element of threat, basically, where a team will know over the course of the season that, yeah, you can't just give Levi the space to pick up passes. Now, there are a few passes here where it's a direct pass into a centre forward who then puts the ball in the back of the net. It's not a direct assist, but it is a pass that can break through an opponent's press, their structure. It can get Chelsea further up the pitch. It can open up space for others and open up avenues to get forward quite quickly. And that is something that as an opposing team, you have to kind of confront. You know, do you drop off? Do you allow Levi in a space with the ball at his feet, or do you press? And then, of course, always the risk when you press, and if it isn't coordinated, a player like Levi of the quality with his passing can find a ball that's going to open you up very quickly. And Chelsea will obviously have the speed and movement, especially in that kind of front three when you've got Palmer, when you've got Madueke, now Sancho, Jackson and Kunku, who can really hurt you. I think Levi's quickly made himself a key player for Enzo Maresca. So watch him in the next game, see what he does in his passing, see how maybe opponents start to cotton onto it and maybe trying to shut it down a little bit. But I do think a lot of Chelsea's best movements seem to be starting from Levi Colwill on that left side. Let's hope it continues for Maresca, for Chelsea, for all of our sakes, that Chelsea continue to be successful this season. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below, and I will see you again very soon. All the best.